The recorded presentation of Mr. Xiaochen Zhang, a consultant who works with the climate change group at the World Bank. He has over 12 years of work experience in climate finance and business development, and advised more than 100 climate projects on result-based finance, and worked with both public and private sector in America, Africa, Asia, Latin America, and Europe to incubate and scale up innovative programs and projects at all levels. If you have questions for Mr. Zhang, please send them to us. Mr. Zhang already offered his availability to answer to you in the upcoming days.
Hello everyone. Thank you for participating in this webinar. My name is Xiaochen Zhang. I work with the Climate Change Group at World Bank. In this presentation, let's discuss how to leverage funds from the crowds in supporting the financial sustainability of green projects. Please be aware that the findings, interpretations, and the conclusions expressed in this presentation are those of myself and do not reflect the official policy or position of World Bank or the countries World Bank represents. Let me also thank all who have contributed to this presentation, particularly colleagues from my team. Before our discussion on crowdfunding, let's first look at the climate change challenge that we are facing. According to the recent World Bank reports, Turn Down the Heat, left unchecked, climate change threatens the health, homes, and the livelihoods of millions of people around the globe, with the poorest and the most vulnerable hit hardest. Developing countries are particularly vulnerable to climate change and are already suffering from severe flooding, longer droughts, crop damage, and biodiversity loss. The need for climate finance is massive. How much climate finance is required to achieve low carbon and climate resilient growth depends on the mitigation and adaptation activities desired and the climate target inside. You can see the figures from different reports on this slide. But for business, this also means an emergence of a $1 trillion new market. Green innovation has become a key factor for firms to win the competition in the 21st century. Companies have to undertake a new path to remain competitive and help the world to satisfy the growing energy and material demand through a transformation of the economic sector while meeting development needs. For enterprises, green innovation can provide major opportunities. Green innovation can be divided into two types: frontier innovation and adaptive innovation, both requiring as a prerequisite sufficient absorptive capacity and driven by productive entrepreneurs. Frontier innovation is the commercialization of new-to-the-world invention or discoveries. On this graph, from technology curve A to technology curve B, that's a typical example of frontier innovation. Adaptive innovation is the adaptation of already existing technologies to better meet local needs. On curve A, from point A to point B, is an example of adaptive innovation. Though government policies are crucial, due to the resource constraint, at most time, companies have to look for solutions themselves. From this slide, you can see a policy mix that government can use to promote base of the pyramid innovation. From next slides, let's discuss how an alternative funding mechanism could be potentially employed in addressing some of the key challenges that enterprises may face. Entrepreneurs who focus on frontier innovation encounters questions such as, how can my project be discovered by investors? How can my business concept or models be validated? And some other questions included in this box. In addition to these questions, business owners who focus on adaptive innovation have to find answers for more questions, such as how can I create brand loyalty? How can I reduce inventory-related operational costs? And how can I help the users of my products to afford my products? Before the crowdfunding era, answers to each of the questions may lead to an operational function of an enterprise. It will also be translated into either bottlenecks or costs. However, many crowdfunding cases have shown that in the era of crowdfunding, we have a whole new way to find answer to the above questions. Now, what is crowdfunding? Crowdfunding is defined differently by different institutions. Here we use a definition from an InfoDev report. Crowdfunding is an internet-enabled way for business or other organizations to raise money in the form of either donations, rewards, or investments from multiple individuals. Crowdfunding combines the strength of friends and family finance with the power of social networks and internet finance, and applies it to the funding of projects and ventures. Now let's look at the crowdfunding models. Investors donate without expecting monetary compensation is a typical donation-based crowdfunding model, while if they expect to receive a token of gift or purchase of a service or a product, then this is a reward-based model. Social End is a typical donation-based crowdfunding, while Wuzhong Kan is an example of reward-based model. Please go to their website to look at the details of each business model. In a lending model, funders receive a debt instrument, while equity model, an equity instrument. Examples are as following. Rande is a lending-based crowdfunding model. It has raised more than 200 million rupees from around 6,000 individuals and corporate social investors that have extended credit to nearly 28,000 borrowers in 16 states of India. Most of these borrowers are smallholders who were not able to access to finance. Angel Crunch has raised 30 million RMB equity capital for 150 projects in less than 1 year in China. Though with a funding in its name, crowdfunding is rather a business solution than a funding mechanism. It provides a platform where the innovative projects can be funded by investors. Before trying to get any attention from venture capitalists, the business concept can be validated by the crowds, including final users. Through the feedback mechanism, crowdfunding campaign can help innovators to communicate directly with the final users, and improvements can be made before the products are launched. A reward-based crowdfunding can be a marketing campaign or a pre-order model of sales. Even before the products are launched, business operations can be organized based on the pre-order received and the deadline agreed upon. Through this process, it is possible for the enterprises to have zero inventory in the first year of its operation. If bottom-of-pyramid consumers can't afford the products and don't have access to loans, lending-based crowdfunding model can help them to buy the products and pay back to the crowds in installments. After the pilot is tested using crowdfunding, the successful story can help the enterprises to leverage funds such as grants and loans from bigger or institutional investors to scale their business up. Now, let's move on to some examples. This is the first crowdfunding campaign that I supported. With a $225, Hunxia can change her life and the life of her family. However, not eligible for loans from commercial banks, she started her crowdfunding campaign on Kiva. I, as an investor, was able to find her and provide part of the loans together with other crowds. Now, she has been able to pay back most of the loan that I provided. On Kiva and other debt-based crowdfunding sites, you can also see a huge number of individuals using crowdfunding to buy innovative products such as energy-efficient cook stoves, appliances, and equipment. Now we go to another example. Those sustainable energy sources sustainable energy sources and an efficient distribution model. Queso pay-as-you-go service offers a client the flexibility to consume based on flexible installments. Though the business has great potential, they face the challenge to raise additional capital from venture capital firms. In 2014, Queso launched an equity-based crowdfunding campaign, which raised them $700,000 from equity crowd investors. Having met their capital needs, the entrepreneurs raised the capital needed without having to give up the control of the company to the venture capitalist. Now we go to another example. Pebble is a smartwatch which can alert you with a silent vibration to incoming calls, emails, and messages. It has many amazing functions. However, after working on it for 3 years, the team was not able to get VC excited. Is this a bad product? Should they give up? Luckily, they didn't give up. They went to crowdfunding. Within 37 days, they raised $10 million from a reward-based crowdfunding platform. The concept is validated by the crowds, not by the venture capitalists. In the meantime, they were able to get 60,000 watches sold before they had even been produced through this crowdfunding campaign. However, don't get too excited now. There are still a number of risks that small and medium enterprises have to face if you plan to use crowdfunding. In most countries, we still don't have a clear policy framework to regulate crowdfunding yet. We have seen the bankruptcy of some debt-based crowdfunding platforms together with other models. In some cases, it took quite some efforts for all parties involved, the government, platform, investors, to get the money back to the investors. In addition, lack of investment knowledge have also posed a challenge on investor protection. Nevertheless, projections for the size of the crowdfunding has been extremely encouraging over the coming years. It is estimated that the developing world alone have the ability to deploy up to $96 billion a year by 2025 in crowdfunding investments. The greatest potential lies in China, which accounts up for $50 billion of that figure, followed by the rest of the East Asia, Central Europe, Latin America, the Caribbean, and the MENA region. And you can see in East Asia, and we have really great potential for crowdfunding. In addition, crowdfunding is also not a panacea. Donation or perk-based crowdfunding is a good fit for idea inception and proof of concept with a funding goal of less than $50,000. Once ideas have met minimum viable test by the crowd or community, an equity or debt-based crowdfunding campaign with a target below 1 million is expected to provide increased capital for growth and vested interest of supporters. If the fundraising goal is above 1 million, mainstream financing and institutional capital may be a better option for the enterprises. Of course, this doesn't mean that a company have to follow such a sequence when they plan to launch a crowdfunding campaign. You can already see that from our early examples. Pebble Watch, as they launched the reward-based crowdfunding model, but they actually raised $10 million for their venture. As we are focusing on green financing, here is a map prepared by Solar Plaza. Though the map doesn't necessarily include all platforms, the map does provide some interesting data for renewable energy crowdfunding. According to the map, 6% is the average return of investment for retail investors in renewable crowdfunding projects across the world. A crowdfunding platform was able to raise 1.3 million euro within 13 hours. This is very impressive. This does provide some excitement for the industry. You can also see some major players for renewable energy in Asia. However, in addition to the challenge mentioned earlier, there are still a number of barriers which hinder the scale-up of crowdfunding in developing countries, including Asia. If you want to know more about crowdfunding platforms in Asia, and please go to the question and answer session in the future. Here are a list of barriers which hinder the scale-up of crowdfunding, which include lack of crowdfunding infrastructure, lack of business model knowledge, barriers to reach wider and deeper for successful platforms, lack of knowledge, tools, and data, and lack of risk management skills and tools. From these barriers, you can see that no single actor is able to address all the challenges. Partnership and collaboration are extremely important. In World Bank, a number of units have started some initial work. Here are a few examples from multi-development banks. World Bank, through InfraDev, commissioned a study which examined the crowdfunding potential for developing countries. And a lot of data that I signed in this presentation is from this report. IDB, through its multilateral investment fund, highlights the opportunity crowdfunding offers for financial democratization and support to entrepreneurs in Mexico. And this report has a lot of figures, which is also very interesting for entrepreneurs. And thirdly, actually this May, that's World Bank also supported the organization of a crowdfunding event during the 2014 Carbon Expo in Germany, and a lot of the discussion there was very interesting. In addition to the crowdfunding report, InfraDev also launched programs to promote crowdfunding campaigns for entrepreneurs through its support to different climate innovation centers around the globe. Here are a list of climate innovation centers around the world. In Asia, the Vietnam and the Indian are the first two pilots. InfraDev is planning to launch more centers in the near future. These centers may be of help for your green innovation in the near future. And I know in Vietnam, they are launching a business plan competition. And if you are interested, please go to the InfraDev website and submit your business idea. Another goal of this presentation is to share with you of some of the climate finance instruments you could potentially access for your own projects and ventures. Here are a list of instruments which are managed by or its administrative units are housed in the World Bank Group. The readiness instruments support policy mapping and analysis, institutional capacity building, MRV, baseline setting, methodological framework, enabling environment. And you can go to the website to see the details. Of course, you can also go to the Q&A session and ask questions if you have any. And the investment instrument provides loans, credits, grant guarantees, and equity for investment projects and programs. Examples are SAFE and the JEF, and we have a e-learning course on low emission investment planning. Please feel free to take the course and learn more about the program. Result-based payment instruments link funds with emissions mitigation results. Many of them are based on the experience gained from CDM. You can also go to this the website of each instrument and look for more information. For additional climate finance information, please go to UNDP World Bank Climate Finance Options platform. On this platform, you can just use their database to find funding sources which are more suitable to your need. In addition to the funding sources, they also have knowledge center and on-the-ground case studies. In addition to these resources, they also have a community of practice where you can share South-South experience and best practices. Last but not least, I would like to introduce you of some climate finance related knowledge and learning products developed by CF Assist, a trust fund housed in the World Bank. As a knowledge broker, it converts cutting-edge climate knowledge into learning modules and deliver them to practitioners. If you are interested in some of our learning products, regional or global fora, please feel free to contact me. On the slide, you see different type of learning offers what we have. I also left my LinkedIn contact on the final slide. I will be available for a Q&A session as a follow-up of this webinar. Hopefully, I will see you there. I wish you the best of luck in your innovative work. And thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye.